Hi guys, do you remember a few weeks back when Keir Starmer travelled to Washington and delivered a beautiful letter to the US President? Contained within was an invitation for a second state visit. The Prime Minister was congratulated by British press and commentators for scoring a hat-trick. According to them, he had healed the rift between Washington and London, he had improved the chances of a UK-US trade deal, and he had strengthened the so-called special relationship. Starmer returned like a conquering hero. But the very next guest to the White House was of course Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, and we all know how that went. So of course there were calls for the second state visit to be cancelled, but if that's going to be, Donald Trump hasn't got the memo.
Question about the United Kingdom. Reports that you're going to go and stay with the King in September. Can you confirm that? What are you looking forward to?
Well, I was invited by the King and by the country, great country, they're going to do a second, as you know, a second fest, and that's what it is. It's a fest, and it's beautiful, and it's the first time it's ever happened to one person, and the reason is that we have two separate terms, and it's an honor to be, I'm a friend of Charles. I have great respect for King Charles and the family, William. We have just really just a great respect for the family, and it's a very great honor that, and I think they're setting a date for September.
It's going to be a smaller visit initially, and then a bigger state visit to follow after. Is that the plan?
Yeah, they say that it's going to be, I don't know how it can be bigger than the last one. The last one was, as you know, was incredible. But they say it's going to be even more important. So it's a great honor to be so chosen.
Okay. Look, it seems to be the case that there will not be a state visit in September, but Donald Trump may arrive in the UK for a meeting with the Prime Minister in September, but Donald Trump doesn't know that, it seems. And then a state visit will be planned at a later stage because a state visit requires a lot of planning, and this is not something you can probably do between now and September. Now, I think it was a bad idea, extending a second state visit. I understand why the Prime Minister thought it was a good idea. This is pamper Donald Trump, pander to him. It's not going to really cost us that much. But then what happened? We remember the disaster with Zelensky. And then things have just got worse since then. The tariffs, the acting like a dictator, the running roughshod over human rights, calling for war with Iran, all of these things. So I'm not saying that a state visit is not going to happen. I don't think it should happen, but I think there'd be too much invested in it politically for it not to happen. So unfortunately, Donald Trump will be granted a second state visit. It's not going to happen in September. It will be probably sometime later before he leaves office. But it's a bad idea. It's going to leave a bad taste in many people's mouths because this guy is getting worse by the day. Maybe Starmer and the King thought it'd be a good idea a couple of weeks ago. Let's pander to the man-child. Let's give him a toy, give him a shiny object to distract him with so that he will treat us a little bit better. But as we've seen, it doesn't matter what you do for Donald Trump. I keep coming back to this point. He wants countries around the world to start buying American stuff. So he can sell this to the public saying, see, I have increased our sales of cars or chlorinated chicken or hormone-treated beef or whatever. I've sold more than the previous presidents. I have increased trade in this way. It's not about any sort of rational agreement on trade. It's just about forcing other countries to buy more American stuff, even if those countries are much poorer and they can't afford to buy American products. But we're probably going to see massive protests at the state visit. People will be extremely angry with the government and angry with the Prime Minister, whoever it will be, demanding that this should not have gone ahead. But I think too much has been invested in this at this stage for someone to pull the plug. And it would, of course, rub Donald Trump the wrong way, and there would be no real advantage in doing that. Once again, I don't think he should be invited. He's acting like a dictator. He doesn't deserve a state visit, a second one. But unfortunately, the diplomats and the politicians are going to decide it's probably better to take a bit of heat from the public and keep Donald Trump on side, at least in some way. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.